Hello, my crafty friends. It's Michelle, the Southern Shell, and we are on day 2, wood rounds, for our 12 days of Christmas. This is our first of the month collaboration, and you will be having 12 days of Christmas from October 1st through October 12th with our lovely collaboration group. Our host is Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY and Jackie from Crafting in Mimi's World. Their channels will be linked in the description box below, as well as a playlist that has all of the lovely crafters that are joining this collaboration. Guys, don't forget to check them out, and let's get moving and see what I created with some 3.5-inch wood rounds. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am using my amazing casting resin. This dries really quick and you want equal amounts. So I'm using a paper cup here and I have it on a kitchen scale. And I'm going to add 16 ounces of one and 16 ounces of the other. And I think I go over a little bit on this one, so I come back in and I add just a couple more ounces of the other to bring me right on up to where I need to be. So I'm mixing it real well, and I have this beautiful IOD mold that is our snow globes, and I am going to fill some of the little scenery pieces around these snow globes to put on my wood rounds. So I'm just going to fill them up. They are actually labeled and have a wonderful lip for your resin not to overflow, and it'll tell you how much resin to create to fill those little pockets. So I have my trees and my scenery and some little animals I had already done, and they are off already. They're dried and pulled out. So we're going to let those sit, and you can demold them like within 5 minutes. You can, they're fully set in 10. So if you want to move them at all and bend them a little bit, these larger pieces I can still bend real easy. You can see that one there was a little. Now I'm going to come in with my DIY paint, and this is Salty Kiss. This is the paint set that Rachel from Stella Rosa Mercantile sent me, and it is the summertime sampler set, and I love it. Thank you so much, Rachel. I appreciate you. Her link to her website will be in the description box below. So once I got all of those on the trees, I came back in with some chocolate chips and some little black dress to fill in the dark areas of the woods. And now I'm coming in with the Snow White. Oh, I'm sorry, that's White Swan, not Snow White. I'm coming in with White Swan and I'm dusting snow over the tops of my trees. When I get the trees done, those evergreens, I'm coming in and I'm painting the church rooftop, and I'm painting the snow on the ground around the church in the White Swan as well. Now coming into the wooded scene, I also use that chocolate, and it's an acrylic paint, and I use that on the tree trunks and some of the branches, and then I'm coming in once again with that White Swan and just dusting it over the top of these resin pieces from that IOD mold. And I'm just, if I dust across the top of it, it's only going to grab onto those branches and items that are lifted up. So much detail in these molds, so beautiful. And here are my wood rounds. I have had these for some years now. I had gotten them on Amazon, and they're about 3.25 to 3.5 inches wide. And these IOD little, oh my gosh, the resin molds, oh my word, there we go, fit perfectly on here. So I'm using my antique wax, and I'm just going to come in with my antique wax, and I'm going to go over both sides of these wood rounds. The the natural wood was just too light for what I wanted. I wanted it to have the darker background. So the first thing I did is obviously just put it on there and I rubbed it in with a paper towel. Once I get that all on there on all three of these, I'm going to come right back in and give a little buff to remove any excess after it's soaked into that wood for just a moment. So here I have my Tite Bond Quick and Thick, and I'm just putting it on the back of my mold here, and I can lay that down right into the center towards the bottom because I want to make sure I have a place to hang these. So I'm putting it towards the bottom of my wood round and getting them all on there with this Tite Bond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue. And this works really well with the amazing resin here, which is, it just creates a little plastic mold. So once you paint it, you can just add all the detail you want, or maybe even do it with just black and white or some of the other colors. What I'm doing now is I've got those on there. I'm going to come in with some silver rub and buff. Because this is a snowy scene, I really wanted to have the silver pop out there to give a little bit more sparkle, but I don't want it to be real heavy on this image. So I'm just taking my finger and dusting over the top of these little images, and all of that detail is not only going to pop with that white snow I put on there, but now we're going to have the little sparkle of the silver rub and buff as well. So on the reverse side, I'm going to come in with the embellishments of the trees and the animals, but I needed a little bit more detail behind these. I did not like the way it looked with them just sitting up on that dark wood. So I'm putting some white chalk paint. This is Snow White in Waverly, and I'm putting that across the bottom and creating just some little snow drifts. And I'm just using a sponge dauber here and just creating little drifts so it doesn't have to be perfect. Once I get that on there, I come back in and do another coat so it has a nice and thick. Now, this particular color is by Folk Art, and it is called Nautical. It is 36308 Nautical, and it is the perfect for the sky up here, for the dark night sky. I wanted it to still have that blue tone, so it's kind of, with the dark wood and that dark blue, it just really highlights the trees and the animals when I get it all in there. Once that paint is all dry, I'm coming back in with my Tite Bond Quick and Thick, and I'm going to put a nice little coat along the back side of my little embellished pieces here. Now I did lay these out a little bit to see where I wanted their placement before I came in with the glue. I wanted to make sure I knew kind of the general vicinity of where I wanted to place them to create the look I was going for. I'm looking at the back side and the front side to make sure I've got that right where it needs to be. And I can tell that when I put the white paint and the blue on this one, I was kind of cattywampus, wasn't I? But that's okay. I'm going to come in with some more of that Snow White and fill that in. So I've got the Quick and Thick that I'm putting on the remaining trees here, and I'm going to go ahead and get those laid down as well as the animals, and then we're going to set this aside and let this fully dry before we move on. Now I'm doing the last one here that has the little deer. It has the two thinner trees with their longer tree trunks, and I'm going to add a short tree right in there by the deer, and that should set that one perfectly to, I just love the way that looks. The animals laying at the trees within the snow. Now I'm coming in with the other DIY paint here and it's actually called Liquid Sunshine, even though I kind of wanted this to kind of be a moon hanging out there in the background. This is, it did take 2 coats on this one. I am having a stuttery kind of day, so I do apologize. I do try to take it slow enough where I don't stutter, but there's days that my mind just gets all jumbled. And today happens to be one of those days, so please forgive me. I will try to gather my thoughts before I speak. So these looked a little bare since I didn't have any extra things in the back. So I'm just coming in with my white swan, and I'm using a stiff brush here, a stiff stencil brush, and I'm just going to flick some snowdrops or stars or whatever you want to call them into this scene. So now I need to pre-drill some holes in the tops of these so that I can add my little hooks on the top. Once I get those drilled in there, you see my husband Joe is helping me out here. He said he did much better this time. His Vanna skills have gotten better. Now we try to avoid any splitting by using the drill to pre-drill, and it didn't do too bad. It was still a little did have a little crack in one of them. And of course, the one that had broke and I glued it together, I actually had to come back in and do a little TLC on it again. But it is doing fine now. So I'm just putting those right on in there. Here you see I was looking at that one to see if it cracked. And it sure did, but it wasn't a bad crack. It was just a little bit of one. So some wood glue in that later, and there we have it. I have this really pretty, this is a 1/4 inch ribbon. It's a little, I think it's a little bigger than a 1/4 inch, probably a third. And it is a cream and blue check. It's absolutely beautiful. And I thought it would match these just perfectly. So I cut 3 of them at 14 inches. And I'm just going to create a little bow. I'm just going to do a little shoestring bow here. And that's just grabbing the rabbit ears and pulling them tight. And now I can pull the tails and take care of the ears and the tails, making sure that they're even all the way around. These are really easy to adjust by doing it this way, and it's just a simple bow. I wanted this to be very easy and simple. I wanted the resin pieces to actually be the star of the show here. I cut 3 more pieces of that ribbon at 8 inches. I tied a knot in one end, hold it nice and tight, and now I have my Beacons 3-in-1 glue. This glue is wonderful. It takes a little bit longer to dry than your Fabri-Tac, but not much, and it will glue about anything. So I'm using the Beacons 3-in-1 because I have the ribbon and I have those little hooks on my ornaments. So I wanted that ribbon to actually glue onto that hook, and then I will come back in and, I'm going to let these grab and dry just a little bit, and then I will come back in and attach the bow to the front. Now onto the Fabri-Tac. Because I'm doing the ribbon on ribbon, I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac on this part. Now I could still use the Beacons 3-in-1, but the Fabri-Tac is meant for fabric and it does glue other things as well. But I thought, you know what, this is what it's made for, let's do it. So I took and added a little bit of that Fabri-Tac onto the fronts of those ribbon holders, and then I'm going to lay those bows I created right on top of that glue. Once these are dry, you will see them on my pencil tree in my living room. And there you have it, my friends. Here are the wood rounds for today's video. This is the 12 Days of Christmas, day 2, and they are wood rounds. I used the resin, the quick setting resin, and did front and backs of these so that they are reversible. There's the bunny in the trees, and the fox in the woods, and the deer in the woods. So, guys, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you've not subscribed to my channel, I hope you will consider doing so now by hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to know when I've uploaded a new video, hit that bell notification and YouTube should notify you when my next video has gone live. Don't forget, in the description box below are our hosts' channels and the playlist to all the creators that are participating in this collaboration. There's also a link to buy me a coffee if you'd like to support my channel financially. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I know how important your time is, and I do appreciate you spending it with me. As always, stay safe, God bless, and bye for now.